And that story's just filling up space. I call it filler.
Well, before we move too far on from the whole Ghostbusters trailer thing, I kind of wanted to touch on that just a little bit.
Oh yeah, what do you think of it? Because I mean, you're a much bigger Ghostbusters fan than I am.
Well, I mean, I can't say that I'm a bigger fan. I'm more obsessed with it, I guess. And and it's only, I mean, I was like, hey Tip, let's do a really long let's play of Ghostbusters. If that doesn't say what it is, then there it is. But I don't know. It's like I feel they work really hard to make this new movie both enjoyable to the old fans and to the new fans, and they're really trying to do both very strong service.
Oh boy,
but at the same time, I feel like they kind of went a little bit too Hollywood with it.
Yes.
And like the imagery of them in downtown New York, ghosts everywhere. Then you see Melissa McCarthy pull out 2 little Ghostbuster handguns and stuff.
Well, like they had that stupid scene of it where she gets possessed, and they just keep beating her. And she's like, I'm done, and they just keep hitting her like, oh, you gotta be saved, or whatever's going on. And that scene sealed it for me that I'm not gonna like the movie.
I think they're trying to tell us something.
And it was just a preview. Because that's when it was the comedy scene too forced.
Yeah, it was way too slapstick at that point.
Yeah, and more like the scary movies that the Wayans brothers do.
Here's the place. Special collection.
It seemed more like that, where it was a spoof.
Yeah, like I was telling people this morning on Jackass Express that to me it felt like Hollywood's attempt at a Ghostbusters fan fiction.
Yeah.
Even though I'll probably get slammed for saying that because I think Dan Aykroyd's a part of the writing staff, or he is one of the ones who wrote this movie. And I respect
George Lucas directed the first 3 Star Wars prequels.
Well, he directed it and wrote it, I guess. But.
And wrote it. I mean, he created the original Star Wars and then completely screwed up the prequels.
Yeah, but I mean, Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd were the ones who wrote the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but then they didn't go. Then they should take a note from George Lucas's playbook and don't go back 20 years later and try and make the same magic.
Yeah.
I mean, George Lucas was... the fact that it took him selling it to Disney and Disney had to come in and make it cool again is what kind of almost killed Star Wars for me.
Well, Star Wars was already kind of... Like, they couldn't leave it at that, and that I appreciate. They're like, we can't
they couldn't leave it at that, but at the same time, I was dreading Darth Jar Jar.
I wish.
Everybody was so worried about Darth Jar Jar being there.
She definitely left a trace somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, for those that are listening that may not know what we're talking about, there was a theory that Jar Jar Binks may have been a Sith Lord the entire time.
And, you know, it was a good theory and one that had me intrigued.
Oh, cool! Secret passage.
Like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, I could see that. But then it was just no. They need to remaster and redo the prequels.
Well, they can't really redo it at this point. They kind of already made it canon.
Yeah, but
so I mean, I guess you could argue it off as saying the prequels took a place in a time of the universe where it was a lot more lighthearted, and there was a lot more goofy things going on. I don't know. It's really difficult to accept it as canon, but you almost have to, because I mean, George Lucas wrote and directed it.
What are those?
Well,
he
you know,
was drunk probably.
I don't know what was up with him, but he just absolutely took a dump on that.
Well, you know what it was, honestly? I feel like he made those movies with dollar signs in his head. And he's like, how can I make the most money off of this, you know, at the time, 20, 30-year-old franchise? And really bring it back. So he's like, okay, I need a story. So, okay, here's a story of Obi-Wan and all that. I need lightsabers. I need something that plays to the kids. What plays to the kids? And
Take a
their
look
attempt
at
at that
this
was a really
Spend a month
messed
taking
up character
inventory
called
of
Jar
these
Jar
toys.
Binks.
And you know what? It's
You should tell Winston to
I
get down
I
here.
feel as though
Been trying to
he
raise
didn't
so much
care
interference.
when he did it, and that's what really upset me. Is it seemed like he just wanted to do it for the movie or the money. I mean, he could have very well done more with Darth Maul and
Entirely convinced this is the best course
just the
of
build-up of that.
Yeah.
To have Darth Maul, the most badass villain in the entire Star Wars universe. I mean, not strongest, but the most cool.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. And to have him die in the first movie he's in with no lines,
Here they come.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
it was just.
It's on your left.
They could have done so much more with that.
Well, they could have fleshed his character out so much better than just, oh, he's a Sith. You
Yeah.
have to kill the Sith. You know? And that he kind of did that with most of his characters, like Dooku. Count Dooku. I think his name is Count Dooku.
Yeah.
And
I'm having serious
played by
structural
that
integrity.
wonderful actor. I can't remember his name at the moment. Breaks my heart.
He died, I think.
Yeah, he did die, but I can't remember it.
He was in.
Sauron. Yeah, him.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's so much to his character that I really wanted to know. But before they had a chance to really delve into his history, Anakin cut his head off. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
because the prequels could have been 6,
Keep working.
I don't know, 9 movies on their own. And the original trilogy could have been, the story in it could have been longer.
yeah.
Like, it just seems like he tried to put too much into it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That is a brilliant way of putting it. It's kind of like now that they have these, with, what was it? With Batman vs. Superman coming out. And which was an okay premise. It wasn't the best premise in the world, but it was an okay premise.
Yeah.
And then in the trailer, you start seeing Wonder Woman, and you start seeing Aquaman, and it's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Well, they're setting it up for. They're trying to do what Marvel has accomplished, or Disney has accomplished with Marvel.
With Avengers and all that.
Yeah, where they're using movies to lead into each other, and I mean, they used Iron Man and Captain America to build the Avengers.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look how Marvel did it. They slowly
Well, yeah.
intertwined them. They slowly brought in Iron Man, slowly brought in Thor. Even they even did
And they did the background movies
yeah.
first.
They made each character a superhero in their own right.
Yeah, and then they brought them all together. And this one just seems like it's all okay. They know who Batman and Superman is, so let's add 30 more and see what happens.
Yeah.
Over there.
And that's, I don't know. Before we move too
boy.
far off of the original Star Wars, though, because I'm not done criticizing it yet. The part that kind of ticked me off about that, and kind of the inconsistencies in the script. You remember when, and if you haven't seen the original prequels, well, I guess you're in luck, but also if you're planning to, few spoiler things going on here.
I think it's safe to say it's been 20 years.
Okay, yeah. Well, still, you never know. You can always get that one person who's gonna watch it on my deathbed. Okay, whatever. But you remember when
Those
Anakin went to go save Palpatine from Mace Windu,
Good place
Yes.
for the capture screen.
and he gets there and he finds Mace Windu already having, I guess, beat up Palpatine,
Yeah.
and then he sees that Mace Windu is about to kill Palpatine, and says, "Hey, you can't kill him. He has to stand trial."
All right, wrangle that out of
Yes.
the way.
Right? Well, how come he didn't? How come he didn't say that with Count Dooku?
Well, you see, because the Chancellor, I see it set up kind of like the U.S. government, where the executive is the law enforcement branch,
Uh-huh.
and the Chancellor, Palpatine, was there when he chopped off
Good place
Dooku's
for the
head
capture screen. That's excellent.
and was kidnapped. And that was a pretty cut and dry case.
Wonder what's down there.
Ah, okay.
But
Something
when
big,
uh,
likely terrifying.
my theory is what they could have done a better job explaining
It's really dark.
is when Anakin was there telling Dooku, "Hey, you got to do it this way."
Don't have an open
he was saying the Jedi Order is not supposed to be making those
That's
decisions.
an electric lock on the door.
We're not the government. We're just we're the tool. We aren't the operator.
It's a good idea that you're standing in a foot and a half of water.
If that makes sense.
That actually, Tip, that's a really good explanation because I had always wondered
Didn't
that.
last long.
But
I
you never
just-
felt like like the Jedi were allowed should be the ones to make the decisions.
I think the way he was taught, like, the whole thing. I watched this video on YouTube where they talk about the Jedi Code and everything, and that's what
On your left.
hit Anakin was his interpretation of the Jedi Code and what he was being taught, and then he's being fed stuff about the Sith Code under the rug, of course, and you know he's watching Mace Windu and Yoda
You on that?
pretty much abandon the code
Books for it to manifest with.
when they're doing
You okay?
what's right
Let's keep moving.
in killing Palpatine or whatever.
Uh-huh.
At the same time, they're doing it wrong.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
Nice
No,
place.
it does.
Nothing
It's
bad's ever
just,
happened in here.
it
There
always,
she is. Flanker.
it just always kind of bugged me because I never, I don't know, maybe because I'm too much of a Jedi loyalist here.
Flanking was supposed to work.
And I think
You
we
would-
all realized that Tip would have been a Sith, so
I wouldn't have been a Sith.
he only deals in absolutes.
Yeah,
Tell us
that's.
again how lucky we are.
I'm not even saying I only. Well, yeah, I do kind of.
I'm just kidding.
But the way I see it, damn PKK. The way I see it is
You're almost there.
I'm lost.
Oh, this is my time to get ahead.
Um,
But,
the way I see it is they're focused too much on a light side of the Force and a dark side of the Force. And personally, I would like to see like a middle
Don't
ground.
miss that window, Ray.
well, isn't that what the whole series is supposed to be about? Is
Balance.
balance. I mean, because they never said that, hey, you're going to bring victory to the light side of the Force. They always
No,
say
they
you're
said-
supposed to bring balance to the Force.
Yeah, and in essence, he did. And then the dark side got
Added
too
something new to the pack.
powerful, so
This is the PDS.
his kiddo
Present
went
Distribution
and
System. Basically,
brought
it's
it back
a
to light side.
Yeah.
2,
And
slightly
it-
modified
it's
from
just
the
this
earlier version.
ebb and flow
Your
of
plasma integrated into the proton pack.
dark
It uses
light,
a base
and
culture
they aren't
ectoplasm that can impair
getting
entities,
the
cause
same.
caustic black sludge
Like
to go inert,
they aren't ever
until
coming
otherwise
equal.
invisible
One takes the
ethereal
lead, and then the
structures
other
that
takes the
reside
lead.
on this plane.
And that's
Use
what
the
keeps the
slide
story
lower at this
going.
point and squirt.
Is
It'll help neutralize any active batches of black
one
sludge.
is taking the lead, then another's taking the lead, and no one is bringing real balance. They're just changing the table.
I wonder how they're gonna do that. I mean, maybe this thing they set up with Kylo Ren and Rey is gonna be what does it.
Well, I've heard rumors, and I wouldn't put it past Disney just because Disney's Disney. But everyone's thinking, hey, these three are going to be the end of Star Wars. But I've heard rumors. Disney has a plan to put a Star Wars movie out every year for the foreseeable future.
It's gonna be a good couple of years.
Well, yeah. But not only that they want to do another trilogy after.
Oh, okay.
Like, just more and more trilogies to keep the story going. And I don't think they want to end the story.
Oh.
And I'm all for that.
I am to the extent that the story stays interesting and you can still get things out of it. But if they're going to keep the story going just to keep the story going, then
That book she's reading is
that could
amazing massive.
spell disaster really quickly.
Well, the thing with Star Wars now that it's not in George Lucas's control
In his filthy grasps.
is now people that grew up on it and were fans, now they're the ones writing it and making new ones. And I think this is going to sound really geeky of me, but it's kind of like a religious experience where they don't want to mess up the faith. the new director is in essence the new pope of the Star Wars universe.
Oh no.
So
Abrams, the new pope of the Star Wars universe?
not anymore, because now the guy that directed Looper.
Echo must have been released.
Oh my god.
But they were the fans. They weren't like George Lucas thinking, "Oh, I can make it better." Now they're the fans trying to recreate what they oh shit. Trying to recreate the magic that they saw and create it for future generation. And I think that makes it better because it's kind of like fan fiction, only with a $1 billion budget.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I think, there are parts of A Force Awakens that I would have done different, but I can't say there are parts that I didn't like. But there are aspects I wouldn't have done that way.
Well, I mean, I thought that the Force Awakens was a great way to continue the story of what's going on in the Star Wars universe because
And she just crossed right back.
And I'm just that's exactly my point. Is JJ Abrams was the right man to do it. He was the right man for the job.
yeah.
And he
Bookstands are generating her shield.
he took it because that's what he grew up on. I mean, that was a movie he saw when he was a kid and he was a fan of. So he doesn't want to screw that up.
Right.
He doesn't want to be the man that screwed up Star Wars.
I was actually asking my brother this question the other day. I want to see what you think.
Okay.
Someone says, Tip, I'm going to give you $1 million, but you have to you have to write and direct Episode 8 of Star Wars.
To the right.
Now, my question of this
Yes.
is that $1 million just my pay?
That is just to write and to direct. You can
That's
have-
not the budget for the movie.
That's not the budget for the movie. The budget for the movie is the multi-billion-dollar whatever Disney has in their stuff that fell out of their pants and the couch cushion sort of budget.
I would do it for free.
You would do it for free. Now let me rephrase this because you're in charge of the failure or success of the franchise.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, honest answer. I like it.
I would do it for
Footsteps are
free.
generating
I'm
her
not
shield.
saying that I wouldn't take that $1 million and hire people to help me. Because I think I have some ideas that would be good. But I'm not a writer. So
But that's the thing though. You can't get like someone else to come and say, "Hey, JJ Abrams, what would you have done in this situation?" It would be, Tip. Here's a pen. Here's a piece of paper. Your job is to come up with the new episode of Star Wars.
Now,
She is shielding herself with the codicus.
would it be come up with just like the way it's supposed to be? And then someone else comes in and writes the story and the plot. Well, not like the plot.
No,
but
it's basically like you take what happened in Episode 7, Force
Yeah.
Awakens, and now you continue the story. You come up with the ifs, the hows, the whens, who raised.
Oh shit! He just reached in the building and hit me.
Yeah, he does.
Well, then I would take the $1 million and I would immediately go to school to learn how to write.
She can't keep hitting the bookstand.
So
I mean,
you're
I
saying-
could.
What I'm
Right.
hearing is, I want the $1 million so badly, but I can't write Star Wars. And that's basically what happened with my brother. He's like, I want the $1 million, but it's too much pressure. I don't want to be the one to ruin the franchise.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I wouldn't want the $1 million for myself. Not to enrich myself. But I would use it to hire writers.
She is shielding herself with the
To
codicus.
for me to tell them, hey, this is my idea, and I want you to help me form it,
That does it.
help me to make it into something.
Straight on.
They're the egg, and I'm the other part, and we go to a room together. 9 months later, new script for Star Wars.
9 months to giving birth to a new script of Star Wars.
Yes.
Well, would you like to know how much JJ Abrams was paid to write Star Wars?
How much?
$1 million.
Really?
Yeah. You know how much he was paid to produce it?
I have no idea.
I think $7 million.
Yeah.
And you know how much he was paid to direct it?
No idea.
I think some odd
To the right.
30 plus million,
Really?
according
And
to
you-
Google.
And you know what?
What's that?
That is all money well spent because it made $2 billion.
And by the way, he's been forwarded an additional $7 million to produce Episode 8.
She wanted us to
Yeah.
blast this room up.
And,
Why?
I mean, he's not directing it, but he's going to be a part of the franchise for the foreseeable future.
Oh yeah.
Something I've dreamt about since
And,
college.
you know, his production company is in on it, and
Wouldn't get too excited.
I like that.
I have a feeling she did it so we could.
So you know how much money he's made just by being involved with Star Wars in total?
Not much choice, is
Like
there?
$47 million.
You
Close.
take the
That's a
lead.
little bit on the high end.
Or if we do this
It's
all
been
the time.
roughly 36 million, I think.
Yeah.
And that was the last time I googled.
Well, yeah. And you know what? Money well spent.